It's Jennifer Clark on Gen Zen TV. Thanks for tuning in. I'm so very excited to have John Holland, international psychic medium, on the air with us today. He is going to be in town on Tuesday, June 6th, for his John Holland Live Bridging Two Worlds event at Carleton University at 7:30. I hope everyone gets tickets at the imgenie.org website. It's going to be an amazing opportunity to see a real authentic medium live on stage, talking to us about his journey and sharing his messages of hope from the stage. John Holland, welcome.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
Ottawa is so excited to have you, and we had a little preamble chat. I want you to know there's much love here for you.
Thank you.
I really want to know, how did your training get affected when you had the opportunity to study in England, you know, the home of Theosophy, Blavatsky, sort of the mystery school, you know, spiritual groups that are really hardcore and serious. They take it seriously. Well,
when the mediumship started happening with me, I started reading books, Jen, and they were from England, all about spiritualism. Even though spiritualism started in the States, everything was from England. And I said, God, I'd love to, how could I wanted to know, why is this happening to me? How is this happening to me? So I reached out to other mediums' books, older books, on how they lived their lives, and everything was from England. So it changed. I had an opportunity to go to England, synchronistic events took me to England. 2 weeks after reading these books, I met someone from England, stepped on their foot at a party, got to go to England. One thing led to another. But I wanted to go to England because they're very, very strict with their training. It's very, very evidential. And I said, okay, if I'm going to do this work, I don't want just vague general information. I want to know, how did they pass? Give me some names, how many children they have, show me your memory. So that's where I went. They were strict and they push you. And I sat in circle with for 2 years with other mediums. I went to the Arthur Findlay College, Stansted Hall. I went to the College of Psychic Studies. I was so immersed in England. It totally changed my life, made me a better medium by going there. So, you know, I owe a lot to the British people.
Right. And tell me, like, again, from a practical space, how did going from the US to the UK is no small feat, because they have stringent laws for visas and working. Did it help you arrange all of that?
Well, I would stay for 6 months. I'd have to come back, and then I'd go back for 6 months. Now, when British people come here, or people from another country, they usually only can stay 3 months on a visitor's visa. So luckily, England was 6 months. So after going 2 or 3 times back and forth, I said, I can't keep doing this. I need to just stay here for a solid year. So a friend of mine, his friend who owns a company, said, why don't you apply for a visa as a student visa here? And I said, okay. Well, I got the letter back, and it said, Dear John, you have been turned down the visa because we only honor these certain countries. But yet, with that letter saying, no, I can't have the visa, was the visa. So I took it out of the envelope like this, and I went, and I'm looking at the letter that says no, and I'm looking at the visa. So you know what I did? I didn't call immigration. I kept the visa. So that allowed me to stay there for a full year. Isn't it funny though, Jen? I asked for it. I said, I need to stay here because I'd have to go, you know, stay here for a little while, then fly back in the States, and then go back to England. But, you know, I think Spirit helped me. I really, really do. Yeah.
Now, as an American, you know, Canadian politics right now is all your president, and bless his heart. How do you think that's affecting people's waking up? We see rise in cool shows, psychic, spiritual, medium shows on air all over. Dr. Phil has them on, Oprah, you know, I'm sure you've been on a few. Where do you see this current regime, you know, are they pushing us forward? Are they motivating us to really?
Well, I don't think it has anything to do with politics. I mean, I think there's a consciousness that is changing in man, Jen. I really, really do. I think we're shifting. A lot of people are coming to my classes and my mediumship classes, and all of a sudden they're intuitive. They just know things. They're touching the spirit world. But I got to be honest with you, a lot of people that are doing this, they think that they should be professional psychics or mediums. Not necessarily. Just because you become intuitive, how about using it for your life, for the people that are around you, to make your life better? And it's in psychic ability and mediumship. It's not about just predicting the future. It's about you know, helping yourself with work, relationships, everything that is around you. So I think we're shifting. Our consciousness is shifting. And I think there's a quickening happening in the atmosphere. Something has happened. The consciousness of man is waking up. All it is too, Jen, I really believe, is we're waking up spiritually finally. And a lot of people are lost. They don't know what to do about it. So if I could help them that way, beautiful.
Awesome. And again, I agree. That's why I do what I do. And I'm sure all the people, who are watching have it, use it in their ways. What advice though, mediumship is typically still attached to grieving a loved one, a person or someone who's passed over. I personally just lost my sister, and I'm in the personal bridge. And when I saw your title, Bridging Two Worlds, I was like, oh my gosh, am I ever not doing that? Because you oscillate from anger and loss to I get it, okay,
Still.
How would you coach someone who has some level of awareness of the journey, life, death, and everything in the middle, but still is stuck, still is, holding on to the what Caroline Myss calls the unanswerable question, the why. Right. And really, you're answering my question.
Right. Well, I mean, a lot of people too, Jen. I lost my mom 5 years ago, and some people actually thought that I shouldn't grieve so much. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. It's still a physical loss. Do you understand? It's a physical loss. So honor that. Honor that. If you're upset, be upset. If you're mad, be mad. If you're sad, be sad. There's no right way or wrong way to grieve. Okay. If it's going on months and months and months and you're still grieving, you're not functioning in your life or not taking care of yourself or those around you, then it's an issue. You know what I mean? But I don't think there's a right way or wrong way to grieve. And mediumship can help it. But even I'm a medium, you do this work also, we still grieve. And sometimes, Jen, don't you forget you're a medium sometimes?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because people think that we know everything here. It's not. We're just humans. We're spiritual beings and human beings, physical beings. So honor both. But I do say, I mean, when did you lose your sister?
5 months ago.
Okay, 5 months ago. So she's had time over there. And I always say, don't run to a medium. If anyone is listening to this, in my opinion, always wait a couple of months. I say for me, at least 3 months, because you need time. You're going through the stages of grief. You're upset. And I really believe that those on the other side, they need time to be back home again. They really, really do. And they need to figure out, okay, how am I going to speak to the mediums here? And I just did an interview with Anita Morjani.
Oh,
okay?
Yes.
Dying to be me and this living heaven. I'm going to be at Omega with her this month also. She said when she passed away, when she was on the other side, she could see her family in the operating room, in the waiting room, in the chapels, and she wanted to talk to them, but she didn't know how to do it. So this is the first time that I've ever had somebody who passed away come back and tell me when they're on the other side, they didn't know how to project their thoughts because there's no vocal cords for them. So people on the other side, they have to also learn what it's like to work with me. And this is what I want to talk about in Ottawa also. But if you lost someone, watch for the signs, watch for the smells, the fragrance of your sister's cologne, the leaf or the feather that falls right in front of you, the shiny coins, the radio, suddenly you're thinking of them in the radio, the song on the radio comes on. They do let us know, but we're so caught up in the physical world in our grief, we don't notice these signs. We don't notice the signs. And what is the message that they're trying to send? I love you. I'm still here. I'm okay. I'm okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And in my case, I'm lucky. I felt her the whole time. I helped her transition. So I'm connected, but it's still interesting for me as a practitioner having that real empathy now for my clients. And my first meditation, while she was passing, I apologized. I said, for everyone I've read for, I'm sorry. I never knew how much this hurt.
Sure.
I'm sorry that I never really understood why you couldn't accept, messages, because the danger, I think, in our industry in general is that you get people going from one person to another, and spending a lot of money, and the message is essentially the same. And what is it? It's the healing. So my hope for our community is that we help heal people through grief, versus just give them messages, because I think that's your mandate as well, is we have to live. We have to live first, and then
they want us to be happy. We're the ones that are still here, and that's the big message. Besides the love that comes through, there's all kinds of messages. There's guidance, there's can be instructions, but a lot of people, Jen, think too, though, that your loved ones on the other side are all knowing. They're not. They're not. If your dad was bad at math, just because he goes to the other side, he doesn't turn into an accountant. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, if he was broke, don't ask him for money help. Yeah.
Right. I mean, you know, same people. I mean, we do evolve on the other side. So if anyone who was listening, if you had someone who was not the nicest friend or relative of you and they passed away, they will give me that feeling of what they were like here. So you know who I'm talking to. But they do evolve. They do look back and see their mistakes and their joys and their happiness.
Well, that's good to know. We're going to put up our little ad for your event.
Sure.
We're going to talk about that while that's on screen for viewers.
Yeah.
Again, it's Tuesday, June 6th here in Ottawa at Carleton University at 7:30. Tickets are available at imgenie.org for people who want to attend. Bridging Two Worlds, that's your theme for this event. What do you want people to know you're going to share about? What are you going to talk about? Are you going to do readings? What's it all about?
Oh, I got to do readings. I have to do that. That's what they want. I always try to give a little lecture because for the audience, I can only do so many messages with the time that I have. So if they don't get a message, I want people to know that to honor that the person who be happy for the person who did get a message, because if they got a message from their loved ones, then your loved ones are okay also. But I always try to give a little education, a little wisdom, so when they walk out, they're leaving with something also. But I'll go on stage, I'll briefly talk about how I got into this work. I don't talk a lot because I want to give as many messages as I can with the time that we have. And as long as I have the energy to do it, and you got a good crowd, because it's a three-way communication. It's me, it's the audience member, and it's those on the other side. Yeah. So I'm going to talk about the process. And when I work, I seem to explain what's happening to me. Like, oh, they're showing me this, they're showing me this, or I'm hearing this, I'm feeling that. So I will hear, feel, and see the information. I think the audience loves the process of watching it also. But you never know who's going to come through. And when you do an event, I've done 1,000 people, 2,000 and 3,000 for Hay House. It's scary getting up there, but it's exciting because you never know. As me as a medium, I can give the speech that I've given hundreds of times or thousands. But when mediumship happens, it's the scary part. It's the exciting part because you never know what's going to happen. But they have never let me down on the other side. So I'll give an education, and most importantly too, I want to show people how they're connected to you by showing you the signs. I call them calling cards from heaven. Yeah. Okay, the different signs that they show you, because you can get a message too. And the reason why it's called Bridging Two Worlds, that was the title I came up with. It's the title of my new book.
Oh, good.
Bridging Two Worlds.
Yeah.
Learning to communicate with your loved ones on the other side. So. And
tell us about the book. When is it going to be?
It's going to be. I wrote it. It's being edited. I just did the cover with the artist. So February of 2018. So we have to wait during that time, but I'm already but this book, like this lecture, I talk about the different levels on the spirit world, the signs that they show you. But a lot of people, Jen, too, and for the audience who are listening in Ottawa too, a lot of people that come to see me now, they're changing they love the message, but what's happening is they want to know, what are they doing now?
Right.
What are they doing on the other side? Can they still see me? So that's what I'll try to bring through with validation and evidence, showing you that your mom, your dad, your child, they do see you here, and with that evidence to prove it.
So coming back to you now, what is, like, you've done this a long time, and I mean this with respect, as someone who's also done her work for a while.
Sure.
What is it that drives you now? Like, so you've published books, you've done readings. What is the kick, the joy for you? Do you feel this deep calling still? What do you want to change? Do you want to change society? Like, what is it for you, John, that brings you the most passion in the work?
Well, it's exciting when I see, what happens too, though, after doing this 20 years, I do a lot of work like this, okay? Between the books, now it's 6 books, and the radio show and traveling. I've been traveling for 15 years, okay? That's a lot of planes. That's a lot of hotels. That's a lot of not personal life, okay? Yes. And as I'm getting a little older, okay, all right, just a little, I'm slowing down a lot. I want to bring more people to New England. I want more people to come towards me. I'm doing a lot of teaching now of this because I'm trying to teach people, you want to be a medium, if you feel you have that potential to do that, okay, if you get a strong potential, let me show you the way I was taught. So when you have a mother in the audience who lost a child, and you go to that person, that mother, when that mother feels, oh my God, that really was my daughter. With validation, when they can feel the love. So I want to teach students, and up and coming mediums, let me show you, let me help you. I've been on the stage for 15 to 20 years doing this in front of thousands. Let me show you. And what keeps me going?
Are you going to certify people? Are you certifying people? Are you having like an academy?
No, I won't do the certification, okay? I'll do a certification of completion of a course or a workshop I have, because who am I to say you're a medium?
Right.
You see what I mean? I'm not, you know, I don't have that responsibility. But if I can show them, you know, how to be evidential and get to the heart of the message, you know, hold it in the heart center, then I feel like I'm doing my job. But what drives me is, and I got to admit, Jen, too, I get tired once in a while saying, how can I keep doing this? Luckily, I have my dog, and I also have animal charity that I'm involved in. You have to have something else besides this work. You have to have something. I don't care if it's the house, the garden, the kids. But what happens is anytime I'm feeling tired or how long I can do this, how long I question myself, I'll do a reading. It not only will touch the person, but it'll touch me, okay? In a personal way, and I'll be like, that's why I'm doing this work. Every once in a while, Spirit will remind me and saying, this is why you're doing this. So
yeah, I know when I cry after I had a basically emotional breakdown after I had a client come in.
Sure.
And I posted on Facebook just because I needed a witness, and 2,000 people watched. But
Right.
I was boring.
Of course.
I had the joy of the service. Why I started what I do 20 years ago, like you.
Yeah.
You were one of the early books. I interviewed you, as I said, 15 years ago.
Right.
And all this stuff makes all the risk, all the criticism, all the responsibility makes sense when you hit that sweet spot, you know, for someone.
Yeah.
And if you can change someone's hope, shift it, you know, one little bit, it's powerful. So I know you're going to be doing that for people here in Ottawa. Again, we're going to put up that slide just so people can find tickets. Tuesday, June 6th at Carleton University from 7:30 to, I believe, 10. imgenie.org is where you can buy tickets. So we've got probably listening some of the contestants who are auditioning for the open audition for John Holland. I am one of them. What advice would you give? Again, Ottawa, as I told you earlier, very solid, mature spiritual community, tons of great mediums. Some are participating. A lot of people didn't get to the cutoff. They'll be in the audience supporting, because again, we're just pushing forward this whole collection of community. What advice would you give people who are competing to open your, you know, your stage event?
Okay, well, I'm not going to say don't get nervous, because we always do. You know what I mean? But use those nerves. I say have good presence, project your voice, show some confidence, and have structure to your reading. Confirmation. Who is the spirit? What's the evidence? Why have they come back? Tie up the loose ends. That's the CERT formula, C-E-R-T. You know what I mean? When I say tie up the loose ends, if there's a piece that the person in the audience didn't understand, go back to it. Don't let them walk out with a shopping bag of no's or I don't understand. So confidence, project your voice, be in your power, and have structure. Try not to be all over the place. Male, female, you know what I mean? Take one spirit at a time. Just and blend as much as you can with them. Blend. Have that spirit step into your shoes. So what better evidence when you start taking on the mannerism of a mother, a father, a grandmother, grandfather, or a child? It's amazing. So confidence, structure, and some evidence. Okay.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
And you're going to also be at Lilydale. I'm going to Lilydale for the first time.
You're going to love it.
Yeah. So I think I miss you. I think you're in July.
Yep.
For people who
Actually,
don't know,
I'm in August.
Oh, you are in August. Okay, well, maybe I am going to see you.
Okay.
So what is Lilydale? I mean, I know it. For people who don't know, and why is Lilydale such a fun spot for people in this sector?
Well, Lilydale goes back to the late 1800s or middle 1800s, and that's where there were, that's where they were as a community of a bunch of mediums. When mediumship started happening, when World War I and World War II, a lot of people were seeking out mediums. So it's like a mecca there, and it's a community, and it's like, and it's magical and different. It's really, really strange there, and there is a vibe there, and it'll always have that fascination. People are drawn to Lilydale, and it's right there in New York. So you know, you got some good mediums. There's classes there. My friend Lisa Williams is there. Janet No Havoc is there. And what's good about Lilydale too? Back in the day, they were really big on women's rights. Okay, women's right. They could vote. They had a say there too, though. So if Lilydale, if you ever have a chance to go there, it's great. It's trippy in a good way.
It's physically beautiful. It's physically beautiful.
It is physically beautiful. You see, you're surrounded by the houses and the lakes. It's a very serene place. And I haven't been there in a few years, but I am going to be back there in August doing a demonstration and teaching an all-day class.
Wonderful. And
Yeah.
so people who want to sign up for your classes. So let's go with, where is your closest on-site class? And if it's long distance, how can people find you and study with you online or through webinars?
Right. If they go to my website, johnholland.com, I've already done some online courses on mediumship, tarot, psychic ability made easy. So that's another one here. They're right there. And Hay House did them. They're beautiful. And you don't even have to leave your house. But if you want to come see me, I'm all over the United States. Okay. I'll always be traveling. I know that maybe not as much in the future, but people go to johnholland.com. Like I'm teaching one here. That's what I want, Jen, too, now is people are willing to come to me. And,
oh, they are. They are, though.
They are. And I've had plenty of Canadians come to see me at all my classes here. So like, for instance, I'm doing one, it's called, it's Spirit, Angels, and Healing. I said, okay, if I had 4 speakers, what would I want? Well, a lot of people are into mediumship, missing their loved ones. A lot of people are into angels. And, you know, they love angels and some are into it. And healing. I've got a healer coming. She's amazing. She helped me with my mom before she passed. A friend who broke her spine, who was in a car accident. Another guy a friend of mine who was in a coma. She's going to end it with the healing. So it basically, it's a full day workshop with lunch on divine guidance.
Wow.
The help that you have out there, not just from God. I mean, yes, God, of course, your higher self, the angels, people on the other side too. There is guidance out there. And I want it to be a healing environment. So it's going to be right in Westford, Massachusetts.
And what time frame is that, John?
It's I think it's June 24th or 26th. It's on my website, johnholland.com, under events.
And so can we speak to that? As you know, part of my journey was angelic first, and then they kind of brought everything else along.
Right.
What connection for you, angel? I mean, I know the difference between an angel and a loved one, and I think most of our viewers know that. But what relationship do they have to help you as the medium or the spirit crossover, or what relationship do they have to this whole process?
Well, I'm more into people that I'm not an angel reader per se. I believe we have them. I think you have to ask for their help also. I really, really do. But I think we all have our angels and our guides with us, you know, and our loved ones. But the angels are there, I think, just for guidance. I really, really do. They're there for you. And, you know, I don't link with the angels. I haven't gotten to that. You know what I mean? Some people go right there to the masters and then go down to the people. I'm strictly with people that you can relate with, that you've known, your loved ones. But angels are there. And, you know, being the Hay House authors, you know, had plenty of experience with people who have worked with the angels. So it's beautiful.
Yes. And again, for me, because that's how I started, it's a blend. It's
absolutely.
They're all part of the bridge, right? The rainbow bridge is created, and
there's just different levels. There's just different levels.
Right. And so what is the most difficult reading you've given? Either difficult positive emotion or difficult negative emotion? Difficult just as a question. Or can you share a cool story about, you know, when you read someone, it was powerful on some level?
Well, a difficult reading is when someone comes to see me and they need a therapist instead.
Oh, okay.
They're grieving so much, or they're heavily medicated that they can't even comprehend what I'm taking in. That's happened a couple of times, and I will have to say, you don't need a medium right now, darling. You need a bereavement counselor, and you have to know the difference. And it's a huge responsibility doing this work. People's lives are in your hand. They're holding you, you know, hoping for that one thing. And another reading too that, you know, really touched me. It's I think this was in the Spirit Whisperer, my book that follows Born Knowing. I was at a huge event in Boston, and I think it was with Dr. Brian Weiss. I was doing.
I love Brian.
Yeah. Who doesn't love Brian Weiss? We're gonna be in Boston together next year again. And it was a big audience, and I've already did my thing. He was on first, and I did my thing in my talk. And towards the end, I was just about to end, and I heard, "Please." And it was a gentleman, okay? And I knew it was a guy. And he said, go to the, I felt a sense of falling, just falling from great heights. And I said, okay. And then he said, mention the rock. So I heard mention the rock, but I felt falling, okay? And I knew I was to go to the back aisle, like the back 3 aisles. So here it is, over 1,000 people, 1,100. And I said, I'm coming to the back of the room. There's a gentleman who wants to come through for a young woman, and he's talking about falling. There's a sense of falling, and remember the rock. Who here understands that? Now, in my head, you know, it's like, oh, please, someone understand this. I just put it out there. So woman raises her hand, and I said, okay, what do you understand? Don't tell me anything too much. What do you understand first? Her husband was in one of the planes on 9/11.
Oh, wow.
And he was one of the planes, the one that was going to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where the passengers took over the terrorists, and the plane went down. And of course, she was sad. And I said, "What's with the rock? What's with the rock?" Every year on their anniversary in Cape Cod, there was one rock on the beach that they would sit on and toast the champagne.
Oh.
Okay? It was their rock. It was their rock. Right. And I said, he's telling me right now. He's fine as he's coming through here. I understand about 9/11 and the rock. He's also telling me that you've recently met someone, or you've met someone. And she said, yes, I did. And I said, he's telling me that this gentleman is asking you to marry him, but you are not marrying him. And she says, yes. He wants to be, she could only go as far as being his fiance. Right. She felt too guilty marrying him because she felt like she was still married to her husband. And I said to her, darling, your husband is telling me he wants you to be happy. Oh. You're the one that is still here. Okay. Because I see the ring going on here. And sure enough, that's exactly what she needed to hear. She needed to hear that permission from her husband, her blessed husband. And I really believe, I think I did get an email sometime later. She married the guy.
Oh, okay.
So, brilliant. So, I mean, it was very touching, not just for me, for them on the other side, but the audience members too, because tissues were flying out at this lady like everyone was touched by it. One message can touch a whole audience.
Right. And can we go back to that example? A question I get a lot. Do the spirits that you have been presented have any judgment or anger about how they died? Let's say a murder victim, a 9/11 victim, a terrorist, a police officer on the line of duty. Do they ever express regret or anger about how they got there?
Well, you'd think someone who would have passed that way would come through and said, I've never gotten someone come through and say, I was upset because of this. Do you know what I mean? I haven't done too many murders. I stay away from, well, actually, you never know when someone comes to see you privately, how they passed. That's why I can't do the police work. It's too much on me. I did it once for a test in Australia about a kid who passed away. It was too much. I've never had them come through. I had them come through and say how they didn't take care of their vessel. I've had people come through and say, I didn't listen to the doctor about my heart. I didn't listen to that. A lot of them take on the responsibility of how they treated their body. But I think when they let go, Jen, I really think this is, I've never had them come through upset, okay? Or why did you spend all my money? Or why ain't you talk here? They come through with guidance, sometimes soft, sometimes strong, but they let go of the physical. That's not who they are anymore. They don't have that body anymore. They're just pure consciousness, pure light. They let go. Sometimes I think they even forget that they had one.
Wonderful. Well, I agree. I mean, for me too, I think once you've got there, however you define there in your mythology, it's such a place of peace and love.
Sure.
It's acceptance, right? They're in acceptance.
Absolutely.
They're not in regret, where I find a lot of our clients are like, why, and how, and again, living that, I understand it now more.
Absolutely.
When you're talking, I cannot not do this. I shouldn't, but I have to. Red rock is all around you. So I want to suggest that if you're near, the Arizona terrain, if you're thinking about Arizona, please just.
I'm going in November with Celebrate Your Life, Michigan Productions. I'll be in Sedona for the first time in my life.
Okay, so hang on. You need to sit on the red rock, but without people. So you can't bring, your team. You're not professional, John. This is just John, the guy. And meditate, root, and go up, though. It's the connection up, because there's another level for you, John, I think, of information. You talk about your layers.
Yeah.
And I actually see you more on an escalator or elevator going up and down the layers now. So you may, with the quantum shift that's happening, you may see your perspective being able to expand a bit. Now, that's always up to you and your free will.
Sure.
But I cannot not tell you about the red rock. Sit your butt on a rock by yourself.
I will.
And in a more meditative space.
Yep.
And it has to be after dusk or nighttime. It can't be during the day.
Okay.
So eyes open, like here, eyes open there. Red rock and the stars and all that good stuff. And if something does happen, just pop me an email. I'd love to find out. I have a
thank you for that.
A bit cosmic. So you have to go. We're going to leave it. We're going to put up one more time the the notice about your event again in Ottawa, Bridging Two Worlds with John Holland live at Carleton University at 7:30. Tickets are available at imgenie.org.org. One last thought for the audience, John, listening live today and then on YouTube. Last message for us. What would you like to leave us with?
I want to say to you that your loved ones are just a thought away. Okay, so keep thinking of them. When you pass away, you have to have a new form of communication. It's the power of thought. It's the power of love, how you stay connected. So your loved ones are just a thought away. And trust me when I say your loved ones on the other side want to talk to you as much as you want to talk to them. So thank you for this so much. And look forward to Ottawa.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Much love. And I'll be seeing you hopefully on Tuesday. JohnHolland.com for more information about John, his radio show, his workshops, his Lilydale events, Ottawa events, and of course his teaching opportunities for you to go down and check out John in person. John,
yeah, good luck on the audition.
Yes, thank you, thank you, and thank you.
All right, I'll see you there.
Signing off.
Bye.